What's going on, guys? B Flatten here with a brand new video today. This is going to be talking about the Frozen Heart versus the Frozen Snowshoe. So they do exactly the same thing when the shield breaks and their effects. However, there is slight differences between the two which separate them pretty well immediately, and not a lot of people know about that. So that's what this tutorial video is here for today. Let's get right into it. So the Frozen Heart is a shield that you can get off of Aurelia in the Black Barrel Cellars. The Frozen Heart's ability, that is similar to the Snowshoe ability, is when it's depleted, it creates a large cryo nova dealing damage, and it freezes enemies around you, ones that aren't immune to frozen effects and ones that are not anointed enemies. 30% of the nova damage that you do to the surrounding enemies come back to you as HP. So when you have this ability, the action skills start, you activate any effects that trigger on shield break or fill. It will activate the Frozen Heart's ability prior to it breaking. Now, the Snowshoe, it does the exact same thing. However, there's a few differences on this thing. It does damage, and it returns HP based on 30% that you return as HP, just like the Frozen Heart. But the slight differences that the Snowshoe have are these. So you can use the Snowshoe to slide into enemies to drain all your shield, which would effectively break your shield and also do all the cryo damage. So you can use it with sliding, you can use it with the action skill start anoint, and if it naturally breaks, all those abilities can activate, whereas the Frozen Heart can only do it when it breaks or has the anoint, no sliding involved. The Snowshoe also has more shield capacity, and it can roll in shield parts. As you can see, my Snowshoe has rolled in Frozen Heart, which is the Frozen Heart shield part, and also the red card. The red card is another ability that the Snowshoe can roll in. It can also roll in like Reflect or Capacity or whatever else that shields can roll in. The Snowshoe can roll up to 2 parts along with the Frozen Heart, whereas the Frozen Heart can only roll in Frozen Heart. It has no other shield abilities that it can ever roll in. It's preset. However, the advantage of the Snowshoe, or the Frozen Heart, sorry. The other advantage of the Frozen Heart is that it does more damage, whereas this level 60 Snowshoe does 14,083 bonus cryo damage, and you get 30% of 14,000. The Frozen Heart does 26,405 damage, and it returns 30% of 26,405. So there's some slight differences between the two, but as a too long don't read, Frozen Heart has no shield parts, less capacity, but it has more damage, so you can get more HP return. And in vice versa, the Snowshoe has more shield capacity, can roll in up to 2 shield parts, but less cryo nova damage for less HP return. Now, when I did testing on my rack flak, because I wanted to do this when rack flak was a thing, I noticed I had more success from the Snowshoe, personally. Even though I had less HP return, it didn't really matter because Rack Pack's Falconer's Feast also really helped me out, along with some of other flaks of regenerative abilities. The Snowshoe and the regenerative abilities of those are very, very nice, and the extra things that you can do with the Snowshoe, the bonus effects, mostly the shield parts and the sliding, also come in handy quite a bit. I'm going to start with the Frozen Heart, and then I'm going to do a comparison to the Snowshoe in mobbing areas, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. Today we're going to be playing around with the Smog a little bit, because the Smog got a buff, so why not? Some of the things in Rack Flak that are important and matter. Falconer's Feast, like I was mentioning, my racks will return HP to me, which makes up for the Frozen Heart and Snowshoe comparison. And the rack pack here will make it so that I can have more racks appear, so that I can have more HP return. It kind of counters the differences between the few. Oh, there's a Frostbite heavyweight already. I knew it was going to happen. So straight out the gate, I have no real threats. Unfortunately, my modifiers reset because of Mayhem made mild. But that's okay. The Smog can just shred everything here. I'm losing some HP. That's okay. We Falconer's Feast, we Snowshoe, we break everything. We're in trouble again, that's okay. We can Falconer's Feast, we can utilize the Snowshoe. Everything's frozen around me. Buddy systems suck. I did the most cardinal sin of rack flak ever. I never timed my racks properly, but that's okay. Everything's kind of getting shredded here with some ease. I haven't gone down that mobbing area once, and there was laser fare going on too. You gotta make sure that you time your racks properly. That's the one thing about rack flak that will be saved for a future build video. But rack flak is it's quite timing intensive. You gotta make sure you activate your racks when you need them, because your racks are gonna do several things for you. They're your HP, they're your damage, they're your shield procs. They do a lot of things for you. No, I'm low on HP here, so we do with our racks, we use our snowshoe. An entire mobbing area here is frozen except for that buddy system. So I would actually suggest not using buddy system on rack flax, because things don't get frozen if there's a buddy system attached to an enemy, and obviously buddy system can't freeze in midair. So you actually have to break the buddy system. Speed Demon though. Speed Demon is very, very nice. No, I didn't time everything properly. Having 3 charges of racks is going to allow flak to control the battlefield a little bit more, in comparison to, you know, gamma flak and fade away always having like distractions and invisibility. This is going to be rack flak's version of countering that. You need to have field control. Now you can use things like the smog that I'm using. The reflux is also really, really good, but general mobbing and control here. Oh, there's my first down because I was dumb. That's all laser fare for the most part. That's genuinely all laser fare because I've walked into a group of enemies. At least I think it's laser fare. I never have that modifier on, so I always turn it off. Oh no, it's boundary issues. It's boundary issues. Yeah, boundary issues is a really shitty modifier. We don't like boundary issues. That's okay. Okay, so that was the Frozen Heart that we were playing around with. There were some times that we went down because it was kind of my fault, and there were some times that we had low HP. But for our next area, we're going to use the Snowshoe. So the Snowshoe, automatically right out the gate, we have 3,000 more capacity, and we have the red card shield part. It can roll in other shield parts to be better suited for your needs, but that is depending on what you want to do. Alright, so same as before. Control the battlefield, freeze enemies, smog everything to death. Another frostbite heavyweight. They know I'm playing this flak. They know it. They absolutely know that I'm playing this flak. Gotta make sure that I don't have my shield break on the smog. There, we really didn't take any threats. I think my shield broke once. I think we're gonna go after the Ratch here. Chupacabra Ratch. Let's play around with the reflux. It's a fun little gun. Oh yeah, blow everything up. Ratch couldn't even come close to me because of the freezing. You're not gonna have any Ratch be immune to freezing from what I've seen and noticed. Make sure to keep a nice little distance. That way boundary issues doesn't activate. Normally you wouldn't have boundary issues, but that's okay. Freeze all these enemies. So if you saw the HP ticker there, we lost our shield, and our HP was going down pretty fast, but at the same time as our HP was going down, our HP was also recovering all at the same time because of Falconer's Feast, additional procs from all the different amount of racks that we have, and we're also getting it from the Snowshoe. The Snowshoe and the Frozen Heart, whenever you use the Novas, they have like a 1 to 2 second at most delay before it returns everything to HP. As you can see, it didn't activate there. The snowshoe hit and it froze enemies. However, I didn't have enough time to get my return there. So you got to be aware of that little delay. The entire effect like has to go off, and the entire Nova has to go through before it comes back to you as HP. I'll see if I can make an example of that. Okay, we lost HP. There's Falconer's Feast. Oh, that's Frostbite Heavyweight. I can't make an example on him. Okay, so there, that little like slow progressive increase, that was Falconer's Feast, and then you saw like one big return there. That was the Snowshoe or Frozen Heart, whatever you plan on using. I didn't have enough time for Rex there. Make a return. Oh, that's all boundary issues coming at me. Yeah, boundary issues is a very bad modifier to have on this flak specifically, because you need to be up close and personal in order for your Novas to hit, and in order for your Novas to freeze. You gotta have like a close range to all of your mobbing targets in order for it to activate. I think I showed off some pretty good mobbing areas using both the smog and reflux and being close. Even with boundary issues, we hardly went down, and boundary issues was pretty much the only problem. If boundary issues was not there, I'm very confident that we wouldn't have gone down there at all. To me personally, I find more success in the snowshoe. This is not a very good snowshoe, unfortunately, because the red card is not one of the shield parts that I wanted to roll in, and I also didn't want to roll with only one shield part attached to it. But if you can find a really good snowshoe with this anoint and with also good shield parts, you can definitely get more out of your snowshoe than a Frozen Heart. Even though it's harder to farm, it is definitely more worth it. To me, snowshoe wins for me just because there's more added effects than the Frozen Heart will have. But ultimately, it is your choice what you want to do. Frozen Heart is a easier farm, far easier farm off of Aurelia than off of Valkyries in the Model 1 takedown. But as soon as this Rack Flak's released, both of those will become available so that you guys can test them out. So make sure to stay tuned for our Rack Flak release. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. My name is B Flattened. I'm signing on out of here. Take care, guys. Laters.